What is up guys, Cardog here, and today I'm here with the Digimon deck profile. We're nearing the end of the BT-13 decks, and this is the Ravemon deck. So very happy that Ravemon can finally be a deck of its own now. So let's start off with the Digitamons. For the Digitamons, we're running 4 of the Pinamon. On deletion, if this is deleted outside of battle, you can get 1 memory, which is very good for this deck because most of the time you will be deleting itself by its own effects. So no problems there. Main deck, we're running 3 of the Ravemon Burst Mode. So on Evolution, you can look at all your opponent's hand, and then you can choose a card from there and discard it. If they have 7 or less cards in their hand, then they have to bounce a card into security to their hand. Next, on attack, if you can choose one of your opponent's cards in their trash and put it to the bottom of the deck, and then you can delete all your opponent's Digimon with the same name as that card. So it's like a pseudo Omnimon, a pseudo BT-1 Omnimon. It's quite good, especially if you're up against some Royal Knight decks or any decks that have some that have heavily focus on discarding to the trash. That way you have a lot of different targets to choose from. So it's really nice. Next, for the level 6s, we're running 4 Ravemon from EX4. We're running 4 of these and not 4 of the new one, mainly because this has jamming. Multiple times when I've been using the new Ravemon on attack against security, I've been crashing, and then that just stops my combo right there. So this card will help you prevent that from happening. So besides having jamming, it also has a end of attack skill, which is to pop himself, and then he'll be able to be played at the end of your opponent's turn. And then on deletion, if your opponent has 8 or more cards in their hand, then they can choose a card and discard it. And if they don't have 8 or more cards, they have 7 or less, they have to bounce a card from security to the hand. So one of the main ideas for this deck is to force your opponent to just bounce all the security to the hand and then just do a final shot there. That way you can bypass a lot of security effects, especially those Marcuses running around or Purges. Next, we're running 2 Ravemons from BT-13. This is different from the Ravemon from EX4. This one activates at the end of your turn. So keep in mind that these need to have sources in their cards in order for you to activate their pop effects. So you can't pop them when they're by themselves. So when this card's popped at the end of your turn, you can play another Ravemon from your trash at the end of your opponent's turn. And then when this card's deleted, you can play a Falcomon or a Ikuto from your trash for no cost. So this will help you with your Ikuto plays. If you need to play more on your field, you can use this to cheat it out. So he's pretty good for that. Next, for the level 5s, we're running 4 of the Yamagaramon. So this one's on attack. You can play a you can Digivolve into Ravemon. Actually, let's just go over both of them at the same time, because both of them on attack, you'll be able to go into your Ravemon for the evolution cost. And then their inherent skills are a little bit different. So one of them will let you pop a level 5 or less Digimon from your opponent's field, and the other one will let you play a level 4 or lower Turbo Digimon from your trash without paying its cost. So both of them are pretty good. For the level 4s, we're running 4 Pekmon from EX4. This one lets you play a Ikuto if you don't have an Ikuto already. And the inherent skill is to trash one of your opponent's cards in their hand if this card's deleted outside of battle. Next, for the Pekmon from BT-13, this one also has the effect when this card's deleted outside of battle, your opponent chooses a card in their hand and discards it. So pretty good. Last but not least, for the level 4s, we're running 2 of the Ravemon from BT-7. This one just lets you Digivolve on top of a Tamer for 2 costs. This is used for your last attack. If you want to run the Saberdramon, you can run those instead, but I kind of like these in here for the last attacks. But Saberdramon is also an okay target for this deck, just because that Saberdramon is targetable, since it is a bird. But this one lets you Digivolve for last hit. So that's the one thing I like about this one. But it's a flexible slot. Next, for the level 3s, we're running 4 of the Falcomons from EX4. This is your searcher. Searches for Ravemons and birds, as well as your Ikutos. Next, we're running 4 Pekmons from BT-13. Not Pekmon, Falcomon from BT-13. This one lets you give one of your Digimon retaliation, which is okay, not too useful, but its inherit skill is pretty good. This one lets you trash one of your opponent's cards when his card is deleted outside of battle. So next, we're running 4 Tsukaimons. So we're running this because when on deletion, you can get 1 memory, which potentially lets you extend your combos. But this is a flexible slot. If you guys want to run Psychmons or Yazimons or any other floodgates that you want, this is a flexible slot for that. But this is just a general purpose build. So if you're not really building it against any deck in mind, then I think Tsukaimons is a very good general use Digimon to run. Next, for Tamers, we're running 3 Ikuto from BEX4. This one is your memory setter, and also lets you draw 1 and get another memory if your Ravemon or birds that are purple die. And we're running 3 of the Ikuto from BT-13. On play, your opponent can choose to either discard a tamer or an option. If not, then then you get to draw 1 and get 1 memory, which is pretty good. And then on your opponent's turn, whenever a Digimon is played by an effect, you can get 1 memory. So this is a very good meta card, just to play against decks that play Digimon with effects like Mastemon, Jesmon, or Royal Knights, or anything else. Oh, even the Belphemon is pretty good for this level as well. And of course, this also can be used in conjunction with your Ravemons, but a lot of times when they're passing turn, then you'll be most likely going to 3 anyway, so that's not too good. But this one does let you choke out some of your opponent's memories when they're playing against decks that play Digimon with effects. Next, we're running 2 of the Analog Shonen, or Analog Boy. This one is just good because it synergizes really well with the rest of the deck. Whenever your level 5 or above Digimon is with evolution sources is deleted, you can get 1 memory, and you can hatch an egg if you don't have 1 hatched already. So it's also a searcher. It lets you search to the top 3 cards of your deck, and you trash the rest. So if you have any Ravemons, if you have the wrong Ravemon in your hand, after attacking, you can put the right one out afterwards. So yeah, it's pretty good. And for the options, we're running 2 purple memory boosts. This is just to help boost the consistency a little bit and give you a little bit of extra memory usage if you need to use the delay. And last but not least, we're running 2 of the Celestial Blade. So by deleting one of your Digimon in play, you can delete one of your opponent's Digimon with the same level or less than the deleted Digimon. And then if you delete a Digimon with Ravemon in its name, you can play a Ravemon at the end of your opponent's turn without paying its memory cost. And then the security effect just lets you pop one of your opponents at the lowest level. So as you can see, once you use these cards' effects to pop themselves, they'll come back, but they won't have any effects. They won't have the pop effects again. So you're going to use your Celestial Blade to pop them and use them again. But the deletion effects themselves are not bound to their inherits. So if you can crash them into bigger Digimon or whatnot, but you won't be able to manually pop them yourself. So these are here for that. So overall, this is the build. It's a really fun deck to play. I think this deck is super reliant on what kind of decks your opponents are playing. Obviously, if they're playing against, if they're playing decks that don't have a large hand size, then this deck is super good just because you can just keep bouncing their security to the hand. But if they're playing a deck that has a lot of draw power, you're gonna have a hard time to discard the hand without taking a little bit of time. You're gonna need to have a lot of your Pokemon and Falcomons just to trash your opponent's security. Or just to trash your opponent's hand. So, yeah, it depends on the matchup, but this is a really fun deck to play, and I think if it gets a little bit more support, I think the deck will be a lot stronger, but I think it's pretty decent already right now. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this deck, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you guys want to support the channel, feel free to use the F links down below. But I think the last decks, I think some of you guys requested for Chessmon and Antemon decks. I'll probably experiment with it. I don't know how much success I'll have with it, but I'll be making the Ravemon deck soon. And then, or I already made it, but I just need to test it out a bit more. And then afterward, there's going to be some matches, as well as some other card game content, because there's going to be kind of a dry period for Digimon content, at least for deck profiles and unboxings, for the next month and a half, I think, until we get the start deck. And then I'll be opening Battle Spirits on the weekend, so hopefully some of you are interested in that. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this unboxing, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed it. This is Karotaku, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!